Hey everybody, welcome to the Blue Collar Beer Gentleman. I'm Topher. I'm a fan of craft beer, but I'm also on a limited budget, so I started this channel to prove that it was possible to enjoy good quality beers without having to break the bank. So on this channel I try to demystify craft beer and break through some of the elitism that surrounds it, and while so doing, try to find the best deal on beers. And today I actually found a pretty good deal. It's part of an aforementioned uh, deal I got out of on Instagram from a local retailer, Liquor Lineup. If you're ever here in Las Vegas, you should definitely check out Liquor Lineup in North Las Vegas on Losee Road. Great selection, great prices. But I was able to get 15 beers from them for the low price of $55. And by so doing, I managed to secure the of Balloons and Unicorns Hazy IPA from Abel Baker Brewing for only $3.67 for this pint can. So that turned out to be a pretty good deal. Abel Baker is in fact a local brewer. They're here in Las Vegas. They um, they were kind of a contract brewer for a while. They were using other people's facilities, but now they've got their own brewery up. They've got their own tap room in the Arts District here in Las Vegas. So if you're here in Vegas, you should definitely go check them out. Uh, this particular IPA is, well, Abel Baker, if you notice here, I'm going to show you. See the duck with the atomic symbol? That's the atomic duck is their logo. Big atomic uh, um, theme to Abel Baker. But here's the quick rundown of this beer. Local amateur artist Naomi Benham provides us with a unique artwork for our third rendition of this popular hazy IPA. In 1970, the most photographed nuclear explosion in history took place. That test, codenamed, excuse me, by the French Lacon, which translates to unicorn, was a 914 kiloton explosion carried out by suspending a nuclear device from a balloon filled with helium, then detonating it 500 meters above ground. The resulting mushroom cloud and after effects were described as both scary and stupendously beautiful, and photos of the explosion display the the oxymoronic equipoise of its destructive elegance. This hazy IPA envelops you with a soft mouthfeel, aroma, and flavor while delicately floating in the space between hoppy and fruity. And yes, this is in fact the third version of it. If you look there on the red balloon, you see the number 3 there? This is the third version of it, and yet I don't think this has been around for a particularly long time. It does have a 6.5 ABV. Typically, American IPAs come in between 5.5 and 7.5. Has 44 IBUs. Typically, American IPAs come in between 40 and 70 IBUs. Do not have a brewed on, packaged on, or enjoy by date on this, but I don't think it's particularly old. As I said, it's the third rendition of this. It is a hazy IPA, and I've got to admit, the past several hazy IPAs that I've had were not even remotely hazy. So I'm hoping that this one will come through a little bit more on that. Quick notes amongst the reviewing community. The only friend I have on Untappd who has reviewed this is Darren R. He gave it 4.25, so very high score there. Only 54 rankings total on um, Untappd with a cumulative score of 4 point or an average score of 4.14. Beer Advocate only has had 4 rankings, giving it an average score of 4.16. When there's only 4 rankings, they don't figure a cumulative score. So no cumulative score for that. Uses Idaho 7, Columbus, and Amarillo hops, and the yeast used was Kvik, Kvik, K-V-I-E-K. My Cyrillic is woefully bad, so I couldn't tell you how to pronounce that. I'm going to say Kvik. Anyway, K-V-I-E-K is the yeast that was used in this. I am going to be using my Tenaya Creek IPA glass because it's a Las Vegas IPA and I want to put it into a Las Vegas IPA glass. Um, I don't know how things are going to be going once everything settles back down and gets to normal, but I do strongly encourage you to check out Tenaya Creek Brewery, situated under the Spaghetti Bowl here in Las Vegas, close to downtown, not particularly far from the Strip, and definitely worthwhile. If you are not familiar with us, you should definitely check us out. Hashtag The Creek Geeks LV. We are on Facebook. We're also on Twitter. Okay, so I think I've pretty much covered everything on this. As I said, Abel Baker is a local brewer. I myself have had 7 different beers from them with an average score of 3.86. So as you can see, I usually give them fairly high marks. I just opened this and already I can smell the hops, and it's probably a good, I'd say maybe 15 inches away from me, and I can smell the hops just opening the can. So let's see how this pours, and hopefully it's going to pour hazy, considering how woefully unhazy the past several IPAs I've had have been. Okay, much better. That is definitely hazy. That's what a hazy IPA is supposed to look like. Guys, what you're seeing is about 2 tints darker than the actual color of the beer. The beer is closer to sort of a canary yellow. What you're seeing there is, uh, what could I liken that to? It's almost like a pea green you see there in the camera, but this is more of a canary yellow. That head seems to be fairly resilient. I don't see much in the way of bubble popping, so I imagine that's going to be there for a while. Let me give this a quick beard wipe, see what I encounter. Lots of fruitiness to it. I'm going to describe that as actually low carbonation. I mean, the carbonation is there. I see the tiny little bubbles, but it's certainly not it's not crazy carbonation. So I'm going to describe that as lower carbonation. And there's a fruitiness. There's a hoppiness. It's a fruity hoppy combination, very tropical smelling. I don't see any reason to keep yapping my flap. I'm going to drink some beer. Cheers. Okay, first impressions. I'm going to describe that as a medium-low mouthfeel. The flavor is hoppy and, as they said, soft. Yes, it does feel very mellowed. Feels like maybe it was attenuated by the yeast, or perhaps tempered down by the malt composition. 44 IBUs is what I believe this was. Let me make sure I'm right. Yes, 44 IBUs. Doesn't surprise me. This is definitely not an overly bitter IPA, and they described it as soft. I think that's a perfect word to describe it. Um, there is an IPA bitterness, but it's softened by the malt composition. There's a fruitiness that is, it's a soft fruitiness. It's not a spiky fruitiness. So as I said, I mean a medium low, maybe even I'd go so far as to say low mouthfeel on this. Not a lot of spikiness to it at all. Um, no real noticeable alcohol burn either, which is something else that would make it soft when there's no alcohol burn whatsoever, and there really isn't on this. So it's 6.5. It could go either way, honestly. It's Yeah, it's soft, I think is the best word to describe this. It's very hop forward. Obviously, you know, it's an IPA. It's a hop forward IPA, but it does feel like the malt has tempered out some of that super bitterness, and in the end, you've got yourself a pretty decent IPA. I think um, I think the IPA itself, I think the beer itself deserves a 4.0 for coming in a can, which those of you who watch this channel regularly know that cans always get that extra 0.25 from me. So when I go to put this in Untapped, I'm going to be giving this a 4.25. Uh, and I think it deserves that for sure. Yeah, well, guys, if you like this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, drink good beer and don't break the bank doing it. Cheers.